This for me is an act of resistance, to be able to say, this is who I am, and for people to see that my journey is not just of mine alone, but of many people that are around me. I'm an activist, an organizer, and most importantly, a mom. I'm born and raised in Brooklyn, and every day I wake up in the morning and I figure out how to build power amongst people of color. So anything from immigration reform to healthcare for all people, to police and law enforcement accountability, to the rights of Muslim Americans to practice their religion freely in America. I love my people so much that I want them to live in a country that loves them and embraces them for who they are. Being unapologetic about who you are is a journey, and it requires a community and a family that instills in you who you are, where you came from, and what your responsibility is to the lineage and heritage in which you come from. And for me, my true, authentic unapologeticness came immediately after the horrific attacks of 9/11, and watching here in New York City as a born and raised Brooklynite, seeing the type of treatment of Muslim Americans who are now seen as like a suspect community with something that had nothing to do with us, and just watching men in my community be taken away from their homes, watching raids on my community, it got me to a point where I said, this is not okay. And then venturing out into the world and seeing that my community was not an anomaly, that this type of injustice and profiling of communities was happening already to African Americans and already to Latino communities and undocumented and other folks. And so for me, I decided not to be a bystander. And I think I believe that all of us could make that decision. It doesn't require for me to be an organizer or an activist. It doesn't require for me to have a particular skill. But I chose to stand up for what I believe in, no matter the consequences. And unfortunately, there have been many consequences for someone like me. I have received a type of backlash that I quite honestly was not expecting. I did expect people to challenge me. I expected people to vehemently disagree with me, but I did not expect death threats. I didn't expect to be harassed, to be bullied, to be smeared, to be vilified, and really to be made out to be someone that I'm not. And I think the important part of my telling of my story is exactly that I am going to tell my story, that I'm going to allow people to join me on the journey of my life that got me here to be an activist and an organizer and a leader in this country, particularly resisting fascism and white supremacy and all forms of racism. And I want to be able to tell people who I am in my own words and not just those of others.